Welcome to State of Minds, presented by Hope Gas and by Greer Industries.
Dave Green, coal miner, captain of mine rescue team, landscape astrophotographer. Your work has been featured in major publications. NASA Astronomy Photo of the Day got you a lot of recognition. You won first place in a Friends of NRG photography competition, West Virginia Living Magazine, first place in the scenic photography category. And the tagline you have for yourself is coal miner with a camera digging into the depths of outer space from the hills of West Virginia, which is a great tagline, by the way. But it all started accidentally. Tell us.
Our role in mine rescue is pretty dynamic. So we could be doing anything from teaching classes to doing safety audits, and then of course doing mine rescue work and training. And about 10 years ago, so the company then, we did in-house training videos. Sure. So it might be a safety apparatus, it might be some procedural thing or whatever it was, but we did these in-house training videos. And there was a guy that did that and he understood how to use a camera and he had all the software and more importantly, he had all the know-how. And he left the company for whatever reason. So they bring the cameras and the computer and all that to us because we, like I said, we do sort of have somewhat of a dynamic role in the company, and they're like, hey, we need a training video on such and such, whatever it was. And it was me and another guy that I work with on the team, and we're like, we don't know how to do any of this.
So you didn't know anything about it?
We didn't know how to turn the camera on.
Okay.
We didn't know file handling. We didn't know how to edit video. We didn't know how to take pictures. We literally knew nothing.
Okay. We
didn't know anything about it. And as it is in the coal industry sometimes, you'll figure it out. And our first training video was really terrible. And you know, as time went on, we made more videos, and we just tried to, as time went on, to suck a little less, if that makes sense. But I really did enjoy using a camera, and I enjoyed taking pictures. I started learning how to use the manual functions of a camera, and that interested me. And I guess really early on, you know, I bought my own DSLR, and I have two daughters. Yeah, just a digital camera. Yeah, just a Canon Rebel. It's okay. Everyone owns one. And you know, initially I kind of had no idea really. I mean, I have two daughters, and they were young kids then, and my wife, and so I'd take pictures of my family, and we'd go to the beach. You take pictures of the beach or whatever, but I really didn't understand, you know, focal length, and I didn't understand composition. And I really wasn't even thinking about that.
So where did the leap come from?
So I would say the leap really come from my interest in outer space. And as a kid, I would read books about outer space, loved Carl Sagan, the whole thing. And so a friend of mine at the gym, he did some work sort of similar to what I do. And I saw it on Instagram or Facebook, and I was like, how's he doing this? You know, and I'm like,
pictures of outer space.
Yeah, it might just be like the Milky Way core over the New River Gorge. Okay. And I'm like, I have a camera. I really love outer space. How is he doing this? So I just sort of picked his brain about it, and he told me what lenses he would use, and what was important in nighttime photography. And I can remember driving down the road and just, no composition in mind. Just, I knew where the Milky Way would be, and just setting up with a tripod and taking a photo. And if there was a leap, that night was the leap.
What happened though? What happened? You talked about your interest because you followed the late Carl Sagan. So I mean, what was the moment internally or emotionally for you that triggered something in you that maybe you didn't know was there?
Well, I think it's one of those things. When you see pictures of that Hubble's taken, or you see these photographs online or on TV of whether it's the Milky Way or some object in outer space, and you're like, oh, it's so cool or whatever. But there's definitely something different when you see it in the back of your camera. And I think in that moment, it become real. And what you see with the naked eye, as beautiful as it is, doesn't tell the full picture of what's there. And I can remember taking that first long exposure of the Milky Way core and just being blown away. Like, it just, in that moment, I think, to me, what was there became more real. It became, it became real. It wasn't on TV. I knew this was authentic. This was real. Then it just become an obsession. Then it become like, what can I do to improve on this?
So an obsession, not a hobby, an obsession?
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Yeah, I would say, it's quite the obsession.
Yeah, you have other work, you have a family. What did your family say? Like, what are you doing out there all night?
My wife is pretty used to me being out on some weird adventure, whatever it may be. I mean, I was in a heavy metal band when I met her. I started fighting in the Tough Man. She fought in the Tough Man. So, it's just like I've drug her along on some of these adventures. But, whatever it is, I sort of have this habit of becoming completely, as you said, obsessed. And I have a sort of a single track mind in that way. But, she's cool. Like, I mean, she's not shocked at all at this point if I'm just like, hey, I'm driving up last night. I was like, I'm driving up the Droop Mountain. And
in fact, as we do this interview today, you said you were at Droop Mountain all night last night.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. I want to get to your setup for some of these things. But what is it about West Virginia? And you're a native, you're from Raleigh County, right?
Yes, sir, born and raised.
What is it about West Virginia and the night sky that makes this, and you've talked about this, a really good place to do the kinds of things you do?
Well, that's a great question, Hoppy. Honestly, I think if it wasn't for West Virginia, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. As I said, I had an interest in photography, but that was whatever. But it was when I realized I could shoot the night skies when it became an obsession. And West Virginia has some of the darkest skies east of the Mississippi. And what you are considering there is the light pollution.
Right.
There's not a lot of city lights. According to where you're at, Morgantown, not the best, but the National Forest is beautiful. It's pristine. I mean, those are, dark skies are rated on a 1 to 9. It's called a Bortle scale. And you're talking about 1 would be the middle of the ocean, 9 would be the middle of Las Vegas. And some of the areas in the National Forest are at a 2. So they're pristine night skies. Yeah. And so I feel like it's because of West Virginia is why I do what I do.
The Mountain State is full of pioneers once again.
We have one of the most advanced robotic heart surgery programs.
The world's most advanced clean steel facility. 2,000 construction jobs, 800 full-time permanent jobs.
West Virginia is going to end up being a leader, an example to the rest of the U.S.
West Virginia is for hope.
Hope Gas is lighting the way forward for West Virginia. Learn more at wvisforhope.com.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Candidly GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. Take your pick from our massive selection. Now up to $5,500 off select new Acadias and 3.9% for 60 months. The great deals continue with our large selection of quality pre-owned vehicles. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at wvhtf.org.
Welcome back to State of Minds, presented by Hope Gas and by Greer Industries.
Describe what goes into setting up like the shot at Drew Mountain. Sure. What goes into setting that up of what you want to shoot? Picking out a subject, a time of year, the equipment, getting there. Take us through a shoot.
So a big part of it here in this state is planning. I mean, you can walk to the top of any mountain, but from the top of most mountains, you can't see much sky because there's trees everywhere. So you have to understand your vantage point and which direction you're shooting. And so you have to know what your subject is in the sky, and what your subject is on the ground.
Milky Way, Orion.
Right. It can Cygnus, the number of different things throughout the year, and the night sky changes all year long. So as the year goes, I find myself considering what's in the night sky more than what the weather's going to be. And so, so a big part of it is the planning process and understanding, like, I need to be set up at this particular location at this particular time. I'll be shooting at this particular bearing, and and then it's just set up all my equipment, and then sometimes it's wait or just set up and start shooting as soon as it gets dark, according to when my subject is where I want it to be in the sky.
And but this is not just point and shoot.
No way. No, in fact, I mean, there's photos that I've taken that I've considered and planned for months and sometimes years. So, yeah, and it's just, it's just the opportunity between moon, clouds, work, family. Sometimes that I know that shot's there and I'm just waiting on the opportunity to get it. And sometimes, it just takes a while for me to get there and make it happen.
And it's not like you just pull into a parking lot and shoot. I mean, you've got to get to a specific place, and sometimes that's hiking up the mountain with a bunch of equipment, right?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, Droop, for instance, last night, they closed the gate on the lookout tower during the winter months. Mm-hmm. And so you just park at the road. It's okay to walk out there, but they just close the gate to cars. So it's not a long walk, but yeah, I've hiked to the top of Seneca Rocks or hiked out into Dolly Sods, and I have somewhere around, generally speaking, somewhere around 50 pounds of gear plus sometimes, according to what I have. But yeah, sometimes it's a bit of work just to get there.
You have said, and this I think gets to the essence of what you're doing, that photography allows people to, this is not an exact quote, it's a paraphrase, allows people to see something amazing that's there that they could not otherwise see with the naked eye.
Yeah.
What do you mean there?
So one of the things that I think my approach to photography has been, since I really got into the astrophotography side of it, has been to capture something iconic, West Virginia iconic, and capture it in a way that's different than people has ever seen it, but capture it in a way that's authentic. And so, for instance, you could consider like shooting Orion. Well, the red is hydrogen alpha. We can't see that with our eyes. It's there. For instance, I think about Seneca Rocks, and it's such an iconic West Virginia location. And Orion has been rising over Seneca Rocks for millions of years. And I wanted to capture it in a way that was authentic, yet was different than we can see it, and maybe different than people have ever seen it before. And so that's kind of always my approach is, you know, West Virginia, I think about the places that, and I use the term iconic, but I think maybe that they're just places that are important to us. Mm-hmm. And I know they're important to us as West Virginians because they're important to me. And, you know, I think about Seneca Rocks, I think about, you know, Dolly Sods, I think about Spruce Knob, the New River Gorge Bridge. And, you know, I like to be able to capture those locations with something that changes the scene, but it's real and it's authentic, but it changes the way you've looked at it maybe in the past. That the Milky Way core has rose over the New River Gorge Bridge, you know, for millions of years, but many people don't realize that because you have to be at the right place at the right time on the right night, or else you won't see it.
Here's something else that you do, though. In looking at your images, which really stood out to me, which I love, is the strong artistic quality that's in it. You're not just shooting the sky. Like the shot of Seneca Rocks, one of them, you are the unidentified figure in the foreground.
Sure.
At Dolly Sods, where you were camping with your dad, and there's the tent in the foreground. And so that's art, okay? I mean, so where does that come from? How do you figure out that you want to have that in there to provide a little bit different perspective on this astrophotography?
Well, I'm learning. and that's a good question. And I think, you know, art, of course, is subjective, but I think that art should tell a story. And I think that the photograph should tell a story. And, you know, when I think about the Dolly Sods, you brought that picture up, and Dad was with me, and he was in a tent sleeping. So you can see that it looks like a sort of bright light, but it was a very dim light in the tent.
But because of the exposure, it
ends up looking very bright. And my dad's 63, and Dad's a retired coal miner. And I was shooting the night sky, and he was in the tent sleeping. And so I'm shooting the night sky, and I'll never forget, Dad gets up, and he's milling around, and I walk down, and I'm like, I say, Dad, I said, you know, look up. And he stops, and he's like, you know, the Milky Way core is just vertical in the sky at that point. And he said, son, I've never seen anything like that in my whole life. And, you know, Dad he's an outdoors guy. He hunts and fishes. He's probably in a camper somewhere in Boone County right now trying to get a deer. And to me, that was shocking, you know, but it also, I understand, because you do have to be in the right place at the right time on the right night. But the tent and the Milky Way, that's my story. And I think that, you know, when other people see it, it's like music. You know, you listen to lyrics sometimes and you're like, oh, this must be about this thing or that thing. Well, maybe it is, maybe it's not, but that's what it's about to you, and that's fine, you know. And that, I think that's part of art, is that it speaks to you on some level. And I think a lot of times when people see that, you know, the tent or the person standing in the foreground, one of the things that I really love about my work is when people comment on social media. I would say one of the more common comments that I get is things like, you know, my dad used to take me there when I was a kid, or, you know, we used to fish there, you know, or, you know, I love going to that place, or we go there every year, or, you know, we talk about me being an astrophotographer. And generally speaking, astrophotographers would be using a telescope to just shoot some subject in outer space. but for me, I really enjoy the connection with the heavens and the earth, if you will.
West Virginia has mountains of potential.
I grew up in the Kanawha Valley. It's a privilege to be a West Virginian. What we've got to continue to drive in this state is that concept of hope for the future, moving not just West Virginia forward, but moving the nation forward.
West Virginia is for hope.
Hope Gas is lighting the way forward for West Virginia. Learn more at wvisforhope.com.
I'm Sean Kovich, Mountaineer Golf Coach. When disaster strikes your home, business, or golf game, call the restoration company the Mountaineers call. Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Welcome back to State of Minds, presented by Hope Gas and by Greer Industries.
I don't want to get too existential here, but for me, when I'm looking at when I saw the picture at Seneca Rocks, one of the pictures,
sure,
and you're in the foreground, we don't know it's you.
Right.
We just know it's a person. And there's Seneca Rocks, and was it the Milky Way or Orion, or what was it behind it?
There's a couple different ones, but I think you're referring to Orion.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking humanity, isolation, but also infinity and history.
Yeah.
I mean, is that what you were thinking, or am I reading too much into that?
Well, that's your
okay,
story,
that's what I
right?
got.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I mean, I think that's exactly what I'm referring to is when people see a piece of art, it speaks to them in a certain way. Maybe the artist wasn't thinking that. It doesn't matter what the artist was thinking. I think that's the appeal to it, is that there's some sort of mystery a little bit to it. I think also is why I enjoy astrophotography so much is it is sort of mysterious, in that we can't see it with our naked eye. And, there is a lot of work and a lot of the tech side of it. Usually when people are like, how do you take these pictures? I'm like, I would tell you, but you would be sorry that I asked.
Your eyes are going to glaze over, yeah.
And so, there's a lot that goes into sort of, and really it's just, I guess, a means to an end, if that's the right term to use.
But to me, your images are much more interesting because of the other pieces you put in there.
Sure.
Which is why you describe yourself as landscape and astrophotography.
Right.
You grew up almost in the shadow of the New River Gorge Bridge.
That's right.
And the New River Gorge.
Yep.
And you take a ton of pictures of the New River Gorge Bridge. What's your fascination with that?
It's just home. I mean, honestly, I love it. And photography has given me a new appreciation for everything around me. And the New River Gorge is definitely just a place that I love to go. I mean, and I'm always trying to find new angles, and a place maybe people haven't went, and something different in the sky. And it's just home. I mean, I'm out there, and I'm just I take my kids out there, my wife, and they always think, it's funny because I'm like, I'll be going on some trail and then I'm off in some direction. They're like, you don't even know where we're going. I'm like, I know, but I just want to see what's out here.
Is there any correlation between your work, and you were a coal miner before you went into mine rescue?
Sure.
Your dad was a coal miner. Is there any correlation between, and I know actually if you go underground, it's very bright because it's well lit underground, but still if you turn off the lights, it's completely dark.
It's dark.
And you and your fascination with the night sky, you know, you're down here, but also you're up there. Is there any zen going on there?
I don't know. You know, I've been asked that a few times, you know, what are the parallels between, you know, your work and the, you know, night sky photography and, you know, working underground. And I will say in practice, they feel very different.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, coal mining is very industrial. It's very dirty. You know, it doesn't feel a whole lot like art. But there are some parallels there. I mean, as you mentioned, it's dark. I mean, I've got a headlamp when I'm shooting at night. I've got a headlamp on. When I'm underground, I've got a headlamp on. I'm always wearing boots, you know, because I'm usually trekking through water underground, trekking through mud and rivers and stuff when I go out and shoot. I would say one of the things that I sort of think is an interesting parallel is, in terms of just the shooting side of it, is, you know, if coal miners are good at anything, they're good at improvising.
Okay. And,
you know, I've found out that in the work that I do with photography, that a lot of times I'm having to improvise some kind of, you know, solution to some problem that I'm having. For instance, you know, it's very humid here. There's, you know, in the winter, your glass on your lens frosts up, and in the summer it gets dew on it. And of course they make dew heaters that, you know, that would wrap around and, you know, but I never liked using them because they have cables and you have to have a power supply and they're sort of bulky, and I never liked using them. So I started taking hot hands that you know, you put in your gloves or whatever, and I would tape them to my camera lens. Well, some guys saw me doing that. We were at like this, like, well, they call them a star party. It's just a bunch of nerds getting together. It sounds a lot cooler than it is. I mean, it's great to me, but I mean, a star party sounds like something pretty fancy. But they saw me doing this and they're like, "What are you doing, man?" You know, they make dew heaters for these, and I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Trust me." And then the next time I'm shooting with them, I'm seeing them all taped, you know, and of course I'm over here with MSHA taping my hot hands on my camera lens, but you know, it functions. And so, you know, it's just, I feel like coal miners are the best at improvising. They will come up with a solution to a problem that's dynamic and difficult, but they'll come up with a solution with a ball of black tape, a rag, and a hammer. They're going to fix it. So, you know, the same is a lot of times true in what I'm doing in photography. You know, I'm running into different problems and situations, and I'm having to just improvise. And so, yeah, I mean, I would say though, in practice, the parallels, it definitely feels very different.
Yeah.
You know, I'm trying to keep everything clean over here on my cameras, and then, you know, underground, everything's filthy and muddy, and
So speaking of your work, and this is an awkward segue, but I want to talk to you about it. So we lost miner Steve Lipscomb of Elkview. He was an Iraq War veteran, and he was a veteran coal miner at Alpha Metallurgical Resources Rolling Thunder Mine in Nicholas County. And the mine flooded, and by all accounts, he was trying to get others out, and did. And in doing so, he lost his life. And there was a recovery operation you were directly involved in. And I know this is a sensitive subject, but tell me about the work of you and your crew in recovering Mr. Lipscomb.
One of the most difficult weeks of my life, to be honest, in so many ways. But number one, just feeling, you know, so helpless.
Because the mine was filled with water and you couldn't get in initially, correct?
And we, you know, the water that they cut into essentially ran downhill and then ran into a dip, and it just roofed out. So a whole section of the mine is roofed out. On the other side of that,
filled with water to the roof, so you couldn't. Yeah.
Right, it's filled with water to the roof. But then on the other side of that, it's not, and that's where Steve was. And you know, nobody knew if he had survived, and we just couldn't get through the water. It was just an incredible amount of water. And I mean, we were setting pumps as fast as we could get them from wherever. We were setting them, installing discharge line, pumping water out. And initially, we're setting pumps as fast as we can set them and discharge this water, and the water is still raising. And it was heartbreaking. I mean, you know, what we wanted to do was get to Steve, and we just couldn't. And I mean, you know, we found a group of expert rescue cave divers that went through that water, and that's unprecedented. That's never happened anywhere in the world. And, you know, but you have to think these are cave divers. They're not coal miners. They're not sure where to look or how to look, you know, and so they were able to get through the water and get us some information in terms of where the water crested on the other side, and some information that ended up being sort of crucial in the recovery efforts. But we were just very helpless. I mean, what is
that like for you and your team when you train, and you know what you need to do and should do, but there are circumstances that don't allow you to do those things?
Yeah, well, it's overwhelming. And we were doing what we needed to do. It just wasn't moving as fast as we wanted it to. And, you know, we wanted to get through immediately, but we saw pretty early on that wasn't going to happen. And, I mean, they were drilling from the surface, they were pumping water, what do they say? They call them you sit on a recliner and you're coaching a football team. You had a lot of that, armchair coaches, but I'm telling you, everything that could be done was being done. And it just wasn't happening as fast as we wanted it to. And, you know, it's definitely an unfortunate event. And by, you know, every standard was being followed, you know, all the protocol that was supposed to be, and it was all in place. Everything was being done. They were, you know, and it still happened. And
is there any piece on your part to acknowledge we did everything we could do and more?
Yeah, we definitely did that. Yeah. It's still frustrating. It doesn't, you know, even though you know that everything that could be done was done, you know, a great man lost his life. And you walk away from the situation feeling like a failure, regardless.
So when that happens, and then you're up on Droop Mountain, are you able to get away and focus on what you're trying to do, or is that still there?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you just have to move, man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's a challenge, you know, but you have to keep on doing what you do, you know. And that's life. I mean, life's full of difficult situations, and you know, I guess is it isn't an escape. I don't think it's an escape. It's just you just have to keep
going.
Keep going.
The best thing about West Virginia is West Virginia.
It's family, faith, and integrity.
It's a strong work ethic. Everyone knows their neighbors.
I think we feel closer to nature and we feel closer to each other.
You can achieve anything here.
To be a West Virginian is to be hopeful. We live in a state that has boundless opportunities, and with boundless opportunities come hope.
Hope Gas is lighting the way forward for West Virginia. Learn more at wvisforhope.com.
What does it mean to lead in medicine? J.W. Ruby Memorial Hospital is the top hospital in West Virginia, nationally recognized for 3 programs in 18 procedures and conditions. But to us, leadership means being first in care, in lives saved, in lives restored. In medicine, we lead in the ways that truly matter.
In 1914, the same year the first commercial flight soared and the Panama Canal opened, Greer Industries was born. Herbert and Agnes Greer began in Morgantown, West Virginia, striking the first pick into the limestone formation that would become the backbone of one of the state's great industrial legacies. From the roads we drive on, the buildings we build, and the communities we serve, Greer Industries has been delivering quality for decades. At Greer Industries, we've been improving lives for more than a century.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off, or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
Welcome back to State of Minds, presented by Hope Gas and by Greer Industries.
What is out there? Let me transition back. What is out there in the night sky, whether it's West Virginia or someplace else, that you're thinking, I got to shoot that?
Well, I mean, I'm always thinking about different things here in West Virginia. And, I go back to a lot of the same places over and over and over because all year it's different, whether it's the leaves on the trees or what's in the night sky or whatever it may be. That's, these places are changing all the time. And so I don't think I'll ever run out of things to shoot in West Virginia. But also, there's a lot of cool stuff out there, and I've started traveling a little bit, and
you're doing some teaching and workshops, is that right?
Yeah, I've done some workshops, and I'll do some classes sometimes, and I could do more probably, but I find myself when I have free time wanting to, I guess I'm selfish, I'm wanting to go out and just shoot. And so, the workshops, I did one this year in June, and it was great. I had a great group of people, and I think everybody had a good time, and we had clear nights. I didn't really advertise it as a astrophotography workshop because, the weather here, well, they say if you don't like the weather in West Virginia, wait 10 minutes. It's unpredictable. And so I can plan around the moon. I can plan to shoot in dark locations. But, when the time comes, if it's cloudy, if it's raining, that's just what it is. I can't do anything about that. So, I'll advertise more as just a photography workshop, and then whatever weather we get, we'll just grin and bear it.
Tonight, we're photographing clouds.
Yeah.
So, what are you having, because of your work getting recognized, are you having commercial success?
You mean just in
like
terms
of selling your art?
Yeah, I would say for several years now, the work has supported itself. So. And that's everything. Travel, if I, the work is whatever camera lens, everything that I buy now, it just sort of goes So whatever money I'm making from it just goes back into it. So, yeah, I mean, I have everything I want, you know, in terms of gear and stuff in it. That's pretty cool. You know what I'm saying? I don't really have to consider, you know, this or that, and, you know, have to take mama's money, you know, she ain't gonna be happy. So yeah, I mean, it supports itself. And so, you know, and I'm pretty content with that.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
Coal mining it hasn't left me hungry yet.
Okay.
So,
I want to go back. I want to wrap up with something you mentioned earlier, which suggests something about you and your motivation is when you're shooting the sky and Orion or the Milky Way, you know, over Seneca Rocks or the New River Gorge, and you talked about how that had been there for millions of years. You know, that, and you know, every night we may look at the sky or not look at the sky and not think about it, not think of the time factor.
Sure.
But that registers with you, right?
Oh yeah.
In what way?
I think the thing that's so intriguing about outer space in general is just its vastness and its mystery. Like we can't really explain it. The brightest minds on the planet really don't, they can't explain what happens out there. You know, you have dark energy and dark matter, and those words mean kind of nothing. They're just really numbers in an equation that they can't account for. And so, you know, there's so much there that we don't understand, and you know, people love a good mystery, and I'm no exception, you know. And so, outer space it's just so beautiful, and it's so interesting, and being able to, you know, capture something that it has been there, but yet we haven't really seen in that way is just. It's so exciting for me. You know, it's still exciting. I've been doing this so long, and I've taken literally thousands and thousands of pictures of the Milky Way. And every time I see it in the back of my camera, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so
Do you
cool.
think that those images are, for many, not for everybody, but for many, aren't just, oh, look at the pretty colors, but pondering the infinity and pondering one's own existence?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think, I mean, you know, and I think about outer space, obviously, a lot, you know, and we are part of it. We're not, you know, this something different. We are the universe, you know, and I think it was Carl Sagan had a quote, something like that, we're the universe becoming aware of itself, you know, and I think that's a beautiful thing. And so, as we know right now, we're the most interesting thing in the universe. I mean, if we discovered another planet like ours, it would be easily the greatest discovery ever. And so, you know, it's interesting to me that here we are, you know, we almost think that we're this separate entity from everything else out there, but we're not. We're part of it. We are that. And I think, again, to quote Carl Sagan, we are star stuff. And I think that's a beautiful thing, you know, and I can't get enough of it. It's like I said, no matter how many times I take a picture of Orion or Cygnus or the Milky Way, every time I see it in the back of my camera, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's really real. You know, I'm just reminded of it again, like there it is, it's right.
Dave, keep up the great work.
Thank you, Hoppy. It's been great.
Thank you.